Welcome to Akanksha Life Coaching, Emotional Intelligence, Module 1. In this module we introduce the concept of emotional intelligence. Try and understand why in today's world intelligence is not enough to be successful and the components that make up emotional intelligence. Today's challenges at workplace require much more than traditional intelligence. There are challenging and in most instances conflicting priorities that bring stress and conflict to our lives. Time is increasingly the most precious commodity and being in the moment the hardest of the skills. In this module, we will cover number 1 introduction to the concept of emotional intelligence, also known as emotional quotient, number 2 components of emotional intelligence, number 3 conclude the module with few easy tips for developing emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence, also known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage one's own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges and diffuse conflict. Emotional intelligence involves understanding emotions, managing them and using the emotions effectively. Emotional intelligence is best explained by Aristotle using anger as an emotion. He says anyone can be angry, but to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way is not easy. Now let's try to understand the concept of emotional intelligence in more details. According to Daniel Goleman, an American psychologist who helped to popularize emotional intelligence, there are 4 key components. Over the next few minutes we will look at each of these components in further details. Emotional intelligence can be understood from the perspective of self and others and from the lens of recognition followed by management. This results in 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 self-awareness, Quadrant 2 social awareness or awareness of others, Quadrant 3 once you have understood oneself, you are better at self-management, Quadrant 4 similarly if you are aware of others around you, you are getting better at relationship management. The 4 quadrants results into 2 outcomes which are visible to the external world, and the impact of emotional intelligence manifests through the form of expressions and ability of decision making. We will now look at each of component in some details. First quadrant of the emotional intelligence grid is that of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand one's moods, motivations, and abilities. Also understanding the effects they have on others. Goleman says to achieve a state of complete self-awareness, an individual must be able to monitor their emotional state and identify their emotions. Traits that prove an individual as emotionally mature include confidence, the ability to laugh at oneself and their mistakes, and the awareness of how you are perceived by others. Social awareness is the ability to understand other people's emotions and reactions. Empathy can only be achieved if self-awareness is achieved. Goleman believes that one must be able to understand themselves before they can understand others. Emotional maturity in this category includes people having traits such as perception of others, being interested in other people's worries and concerns, the ability to anticipate someone's emotional response to a problem or situation, and the understanding of society's norms and why people act the way they do. Example, being able to understand cope with someone else's hardships or sadness. When you fully understand yourself and why you feel the things you feel, you can understand other people's even if they are different than you. Self-management is the ability to control one's impulses, the ability to think before you speak, react, and the ability to express yourself appropriately. Goleman defines emotional maturity in this component as being able to take responsibility for your actions, being able to adapt to change, and the ability to respond appropriately to other people's irrational emotions or behavior. Example, if someone is screaming at you, you know that they are not always angry at you. You have the ability to understand they may be angry at a particular situation and feel they need to take it out on someone. You do not take this personally or react angry back. Relationship management is all about your interpersonal communication skills. It's all about your ability to get the best out of others, your ability to inspire and influence them, your ability to communicate and build bonds with them, and your ability to help them change, grow, develop, and resolve conflict. Empathy, collaboration, trust, conflict management, and negotiation skills are some of the core elements of improving relations with others. Before we wrap up the session, here are some easy takeaway toolkit to practice and improve on one's emotional quotient. Task 1. Physics teaches us every action has a reaction, but when it comes to human interaction, replace reaction with response. Task 2. Whenever in a tricky or difficult situation, differentiate between person and task. Where possible, respond to a complex situation such that you show willingness to do or work with a person but you are limited by time, priorities etc., which makes you say no to the current task. Task 3. Be open to feedback or criticism, especially if it is from someone who has your betterment at heart or is experienced enough to have a view and give feedback. With this we come to the end of this module. Hope you found it relevant and insightful. Please do leave your comments in the comments section and do not forget to press the bell icon to subscribe the channel. Thank you.